Hello, everybody, and welcome to Dot to Dot. I know it's been a while since I've made a video, but today I'm going to show you what I've been working on, and it is basically about the history, about the money pit, and all the different shafts and tunnels that have been going on there. I'm going to also show you some recent discoveries that I've made about the stone triangle and sort of give you a little bit of insight about the history of uh, the stone road that was found on the season 9 of Curse of Oak Island. So, first, I'm going to go to this. And this is the full text of the history of Lunenburg. And I'll put a link in the description so you guys can check it out if you want. But this is the account from the history of Lunenburg County about the three boys that found the money pit. And one thing that I want to bring up is this right here, what I have highlighted. They found the remains of a road from the tree. This is supposed to be the word from the tree to the western shore of the island. So, what does this tell you? It tells you that they found the remains of a road from the tree, the oak tree, to the western shore of the island. Well, let's go to Google Earth and we'll look at that. Now, this is a 1931 or 37. This is during the time of Hedden, and it's around 1931, 1937. I don't know exactly when it is. But in this photo, which I've overlaid, you can see the road this was brought out in this season. And they actually excavated it and determined that it was there. Let me bring that up. And if I fade this out, you can see this is where they were digging this year. It's, right south of the Money Pit area. And they were digging and they found that road. So it corresponds to this. But the interesting thing is this is where the tree, or supposedly the tree was nearby, the oak tree near this road. And I find it funny that it is one of the things that Daniel McGinnis used. It was like the catalyst that he used to think there must be something here. Now, they say that this went to the western shore. Well, if this road went up and around here, this may be considered the western shore right here. Or maybe he followed it all the way to this shoreline. I don't know. But it is going towards the west. At least it's going northwest. So if this road went up and around and came over here, this could be considered the western shore because it's west of where he was, in reference to where he was. Another thing I want to show you guys in this photograph is this down here. Now, I have an overlay of the 1937 survey, and I'll show you, I'll put up how I align these things. Here's a 1965 aerial photo, and I have this is taken with a wide angle lens, so we have to compensate for some compression on the edges. It'll bring things closer together, and I've done that. I've pretty much examined this and analyzed it and have this pretty much centered and scaled to the island. And if I put up my 1937 survey, And the reason I have this 1965 photo is that I use it to uh, locate this survey. And one of the things I use is this wharf. Now you can see the boulder, the large boulder on the survey. Notice how it's inside here, and notice that this is inside here. Well, that's compression of the photograph that's causing that. So this is more, uh, this is aligned, compensating for that. And if you take the, let's go back to this one because I like this because it has the boulders very clear. And if you take the 65 photograph away, and you can see here's the boulder on Oak Island. There's the boulder. And that shows you that I have this pretty much as aligned as best I can. But if you look at the survey and you look down here, this is where the stone triangle is supposed to be. So let's take away the survey. And if you look, and this is before, remember, this is actually the year that they found this stone triangle. And that survey I just showed you is a copy of the survey that was done in 1937. But if you look, you can see here's the apex, and you can see the little, these stones that are going around the bottom. And if you do a little, if I put in some lines here, and I have some lines, you can see the outline of the triangle. And you can also, from this side of this boulder to the side of this boulder, that's usually the way they measure. They don't do it from the top. They do it from one side to the other side. So the west side to the east side. And if you line it up, that's approximately 7 degrees. And this line right here is exactly north-south. So is this the stone triangle? Well, it's a little bigger than what they described, because this triangle is 27 feet and they say it's 10 feet. And it is pretty equilateral. If you measure, this is 27 feet. That says it's 30 feet, 29 feet. It's pretty much. And then if you do the base, it's 28, 29 feet. So, it's not perfectly exact, but this may be also distortions from the aerial view. But this, to me, may be the stone triangle. Now, why did they say it was 10 feet by 10 feet equilateral that way? I don't know. It could be the communication of information gets lost. And so I think this may be the stone triangle. Now, does it fit the 1937 survey? Doesn't really fit in there that well, but it is in pretty much the same location. And so is this the 1937 stone triangle here on this photograph? I don't know, but it doesn't appear that it is out of the kinds of measurements that it was supposed to display. So there is the stone triangle possibly. And another thing I want to show you is let's see, where is this? It's a chronology about the stone triangle. And this is from a guy named Kay Paulson. I'll leave a link in the description. Great chronology here. You have to go down to the bottom and click through it, but it goes through all of it. and it's date by date, year by year, and the information is good. It's, as far as I can see, it's as accurate as you can get. There's a lot of different contradictions about the history, especially about the shafts and the tunnels and everything of which one was which. But in this right here, it says, and this is talking about when they found the stone triangle, and it says it talks about Charles Roper coming out and doing a survey, and they talk about the possible connection to Captain Kidd and the book, The Map Legend. And he says uh, the origin, but the original oak tree at the money pit is 18 rods north of this point and not 14 rods like the map legend says. So let's go back to Google Earth. And one of the things that always perplexed me about the 1937 survey was this point right here. And notice there's a tree, a big giant tree right here. And there's also this point, and that measurement is 231 feet. And I was wondering, why 231 feet? Well, I looked up the measurement of rods, and rods are 5.5 yards. So if you take 14, let's do this, 14 times 5.5 yards equals that, times 3 equals 231 feet. So what is he measuring? He's measuring 14 rods. Why? Because he's looking into, where was that? Oh, it was here. He's looking into this Captain Kidd book legend. And apparently Captain Kidd said that it's 14 rods to the tree, to the oak tree. I find it interesting. Now, I have my own theory along with Olivier from Oak Island Research. And if we put in where we think the oak entrance is, let me get the oak entrance. This is where we say the oak entrance is. And it is very close to that 14 rod. And matter of fact, I don't know if this is a big oak tree or not. Let me take this away. I mean, there's a big oak tree here. It's huge. I think it's an oak tree. It's hard to say when you're looking down on things. So anyway, so here's where we say the oak entrance is. And here's the 14 rods according to the survey, which for some reason comes from the legend of Captain Kidd. So I think it's pretty weird. I mean, I'm not the kind, that I'm not the kind of guy that wants to say, who did it and who done it. But if you go down here, he says that Hedden travels to England and meets the author of this Captain Kidd book. And he said that the legend is completely made from his imagination. So that's that. But I find it interesting that the stone triangle may be here. Let me hear your opinion. I mean, you can write in the comments. What do you think? So here's the stone triangle. The other thing is, too, the road comes very close to this tree. So it was, McGinnis who said that from the tree, a road came to the western shore. So that's how that, it seems pretty much like it's all in this area. How big is this area? Let's see. I don't know why this doesn't work. Here we go. I don't know. It's like 38 feet, 45 feet area radius. So it's pretty large. But it's pretty interesting. Some of the things that I've also done is I have, you can look at these chronologies. This is from the Oak Island tours, and I've been looking at all these different companies. The first one was the Oslo company, and this is the one where it had Daniel McGinnis and all, the three original people, and 1795, and it was 7 years after that they started digging. So 7 years went by, and the Oslo company did the found the original money pit, and they also did shaft two. And then after that was the Truro company, and this still had the original people on it. John Smith was still alive, and Anthony Vaughn was still alive. I think Daniel McGinnis had passed away, and they did the shafts. Let's take off this 1937. They did shafts 3 through 6. And 3 through 6 is where they discovered, it was actually shaft 3. They discovered the flood tunnel system. And I have this laid out, and there's a lot of things that I use to lay this out with. I'm just not randomly doing it. Notice the water pattern here on shore. It's just interesting. And of course, here's the cave-in pit. And the next company was the Oak Island Association, and we still had we had the continuity here was Adams Archibald Tupper. He was in the Truro company, so he was in this company. And so this is April 61. And let's see, the Oak Island Association company did that. Now, this white line, this is actually the El Dorado company, which is the next company. They're the company that supposedly, because there's no records of it, made a tunnel around the money pit. And they also did an operation out here and got the money pit to drain more efficiently. But nobody really knows about this too much. But this is a shaft that was picked up by the Dunfield or the Behringer survey had this on there. The Halifax tunnel is right here. So this is the Behringer survey, and it's just a legend. There is some evidence that over the years that people have found of the Halifax tunnel, but that's that. But the Oak Island Association did the shafts 7 through 11, and shafts 7 through 11 are somewhat controversial because the ones that get mixed up are shaft 6 and shaft 8. People get confused between the two of them, and one of either shaft 6 or 8 is the one that caved in, and that's this is under controversy. A lot of these things have different recollections on where they are, especially 7 through 8 and 6. But these, when I would come across two events that corresponded, then I would label that's where it would go. So if this is not correct to somebody, then let me know in the comments. So the next thing I have is the Oak Island Treasure Company. And the Oak Island Treasure Company did shafts 13 through 19, I believe. And what they did is they went into shaft 11 and they went and did around the money pit. And they also tried to find the flood tunnel. And it was also, this company was also the ones that speculated that there was another flood tunnel system coming down to the South Shore. And they found that out by shaft 15. I believe it was shaft 15. They filled the flood tunnel with dye and also with mud, and they saw that it came out. Muddy water started bubbling out at Smith's Cove, and or not at Smith's Cove, but on the south side of the island. So that was shaft 15 that gave the idea that there was another flood tunnel system coming through here. So let's see, what else do I have? The research that's being done on Oak Island today is there's the last hole that they drilled. This is the off-grid hole. I call it the off-grid, and where they found some wood, that was right here, and it is pretty close to a flood tunnel. So, according to this, so that could be a very important discovery right there. But that's what I've been doing. I think it's interesting the amount of different shavs and the history here. I found it very enjoyable, very fascinating to read. It's a little confusing because different accounts of of where these shavs are and what they did. There's as many opinions as well, I wouldn't say as many as shavs, but there's a couple of contradictions there. But I'll leave links in the descriptions for you guys if you want to do some research on your own. This is what I've come up with. I'm pretty much done with this, so it's been fun doing it, and I'm glad I was able to share it with you. If you watch to the end, please like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later. Take care.